There is no better way to start but saying that this is the first day of the fire horse. I am somebody that rides horses, and my life has changed because of riding horses. So I was contemplating this morning because I woke up with such a different feeling. And I was contemplating about the fire horse and what that means for me. And what that means in our lives, our mundane lives, our day to day lives. And I think I was thinking about my story with the horses that I want to share with you a little bit, and what horses and being on a horse has taught me. And it's pretty interesting because I also looked into the meaning of the fire horse, and of course everybody is hyped up about the fire horse, even though many of us maybe are not interested in Chinese astrology or anything like that. But it seems now everybody is talking about this, and more and more people are bringing into the light this kind of topics, which I think is very very nice and interesting. But of course, we have to have our own filters of what we pay attention to and what we read about these things, and choose what we feel it's the most honest. But what I want to say about the fire horse and the parallel with my own story about the horses is that the fire horse, first of all, it is happening every 60 years according to the Chinese zodiac. It is considered a very, very strong, powerful energy because it's very fierce, independent, very fiery, very rapid. I had the curiosity also to look into, and I admit I asked ChatGPT about that, and I was also listening to a talk of Richard Rudd. He's the creator of the Gene Keys. So this way I connected more the dots, and ChatGPT actually told me that in the year of the horse, some big things are happening, some revolutionary things happen, and some expansion in consciousness happen, which means people are becoming more aware and they gain different perspectives on life, and they actually start to live their life in a different way than they used to be. So let me give you these examples. The fire horse, um, most recently, to close to our days, there was an important year, 1906, and then 1966. These are the two most talked about years. And in these years, actually, there is something fascinating that happened. And in the first one, it's actually the inception of the motor vehicle, basically. It's the inception of the motor in our lives, which actually changed the way and the relationship with the time, changed the way we relate to time, because everything before that was much slower. We were still using horses. Think about it. We were still using horses for transportation and for moving around and in everything basically. But the motor vehicle, it started its inception in 1906, and it just revolutionized everything because it changed the way we live our lives. It became more fast paced. It became completely different than what we used to be. So it was a really, really big movement, and it has a strong connection with how a horse can move and how rapid a horse can move and how fiery a horse can get while galloping and everything like that. So the other event that happened later on when the fire horse year was, it was in, as I was saying, in 1966, I think. And it's when the cybernetics came up, the ideas of the new technologies, the first inception also the first ideas about the internet came up, although the internet became uh, was born in like 69, I think. Afterwards, like the first temptation of materializing the idea of the internet. And just from there also everything changed because the technology became so absolutely strong in our lives, and it changed completely our lives. I mean, if you look and think about it, the past 100 years, oh my God, like the evolution of our lives, it's just insane because of the technology, because the discoveries in physics, because the discoveries in every aspect in science and so on. And there is this, I believe, there is this also revolution of our own spirituality and how we relate to God and to the Creator and how we create things and how we discover about ourselves that we are creators, right? So also like in this around this year, again, think about what happened around 1906, the First World War, and it's like so many revolutions were happening in the world at that time, and then in 1966, then it was this revolution of spirit, of minds, the new ideas. That's where the ideology of the 70s and the hippies started as well, and it's just an expansion in consciousness. It's an expansion in love. It's an expansion of us becoming more aware of what we are here to do and what we are capable to do, not only at the technological level and scientific level, but also us as human beings and us as beings that are created by God eventually, that we have such an immense opportunity to become closer to who we are by discovering much more about our own selves. This brings me back to the story with the horses, because when I started to ride horses, it was a dream that came true. I always loved horses. I'm also double Sagittarius. I'm a Sun Sagittarius and ascendant rising sun, also Sagittarius. And like this energy is really, really strong in myself. And when I started to ride horses, it happened in the desert. It happened 7 years ago, and it changed the way I relate to myself. It changed the way I relate to the world, because I understood that the relationship with a horse, it starts on the ground. I understood that the relationship with a horse doesn't mean faster, bigger, better. It means creating a connection with this animal, with the spirit of this animal on the ground, and gaining his trust first before you jump on the horse. So I believe what's happening now with the year of the horse is the same. We have to create a relationship with the energy of this year, because it can also lead us into burnout. So we have to create a relationship with our, spirit of initiation, our drive of initiation, and how we relate to the dome of AI, and what we're gonna take from it for our benefit, and what we can just like put on pause, what we can just ground it into our own center. Excuse me. And what I mean is, it's gonna be a very fast-paced year where many things will change, and you see already what's happening in the world, and more people are coming together, and more people are coming against each other as well. And I see this dichotomy that is more strong than ever, and I see this battle between spirit and the light and the darkness, and being on the side of the technology, or being on the side of the nature and spirituality. And it's just all about this dichotomy. And it just, for me, it translates very much so in the work that we have to do in this world, which is why I'm so passionate about discussing this topic from different perspectives and offering it here. Um, Still trying to, you know, become more comfortable in front of the camera and more coherent, but it's a duty that I feel I have. Yeah, and I hope I'm not gonna take myself so serious all the time because, you know, doesn't matter, but this is the reality of the situation again, and it's just such a raw video with background sounds. But I'm deviating too much now, and I'm going back to the relationship with the horse and with the relationship that we can bring in our own lives. Even if you don't know enough about astrology or you're not interested in these topics, I think it's important to become more aware of what's happening in the world at the level of society, at the level of scientific revolution and political revolution and spiritual revolution, because the fire horse is about independence as well, and it translates into your own life as you becoming independent of what's happening in the world and you having a choice, sorry, to take control of the reins of the horse. Because me being on a horse taught me that the more I force the horse with the reins, the more I lose control of the horse. So what I had to do, it was to breathe in the same rhythm with the horse, to feel the horse, to treat the horse with reverence, to treat the horse with respect, to feel its heart, because the horse has such a huge heart, as you know. And that heart, when it gets fired up, and when you gallop with the horse, it's so hard to stop the horse. Like, some of the horses can die because their heart explodes if they don't stop in time. So you have to lean into what he's feeling, and also through your own rhythm and heart, you have to make the horse with the reins and with your body to slow down, right? It took me so much to be comfortable on the horse and to feel strong and free on this horse. But when I got to that feeling, it was absolutely, absolutely beautiful and just magic. So, what I'm saying is that, yeah, I think we need to learn how to have the reins in our hands with responsibility for what's in front of us, for what's in our hands, and treat it with empathy to ourselves, compassion to ourselves, and compassion to the world, and awareness to what's happening in the world. Because this fire horse also can put us very much in this position of being a victim of the fire, because our nervous system is so much fed by fire, right? And because our nervous system is so lit up by the speed in which we are living and the things that we are connecting with in our day-to-day life and our jobs, our work, like everything, it's about that fast forward. It's about, schedule. It's about doing that and that and that. And it's just like we see nowadays, it's not working anymore for us, which is why, like, people like me and like you, like, okay, what do we do with our lives? Like, why do I wake up in the morning? Like, this doesn't make sense anymore. Like, I just cannot just work for having money for survival. I need to trust myself. We need to trust ourselves, because this is the way, and we have to wake up, and the fire horse comes to hand us the reins, and it's like, here you go, jump on the horse, it's your responsibility, take the lead, ride, right? But before you ride, you have to understand the horse, which is a metaphor for your life. And yes, I think during the past year was the year of the snake, where there was like lots of shedding, and I'm not going to enter into that right now too much. But it was about, I think, so many of us gone through so many things, really, like, like so hard at the internal level. that felt quite tragic and dramatic and the end of the world. At least it felt like this for me many times, although nothing physically tragic happened, thankfully, thanks God. But it was just a shedding of a very deep layer of who I am and just like facing straight into the eyes everything that I haven't wanted to completely accept about my shadows, maybe. So now that I had gathered this knowledge about the depths, I can come on top and ride the way I want because I know now the choice is mine. Because every time you're on a horse, you have to take the lead and you have to make the horse feel that you are the leader because but also like the horse can feel you are not a good enough leader so he can take the way you need or you want. I mean, it happened to me so many times in the beginning where the horse was stubborn. He was like, "No, I'm not going the way you're like pushing me to go, and I'm just gonna go the way I want." And the horses are such smart creatures, and some of them they are sassy and really like stubborn. It's just unbelievably funny sometimes how a horse can play with you because the horses can feel you so good. So it happened to me that only in the moment I trusted myself on the horse started to trust me. And we had such an amazing ride. And we had such an amazing, such an amazing, beautiful, magic connection afterwards. And you can play with the horse, you can dance with the horse, you can give the horse to have a good time, a fun time. And it's the same with what's going to happen this year. It's not that dramatic. It's not that we cannot handle the reins. It's not that we cannot jump off the horse sometimes and give the horse a break. Take the horse to the water, you know. Nourish that fire with some water. I think it's important to consider this aspect as well because you cannot just ride and ride and ride and gallop or trot or canter or whatever. You cannot just be on top of the horse. You need to give the horse a break. And the horse is not only to be ridden, a horse is to be, looked at sometimes, admired from a distance. You can just stay, and this is what I used to do many of the times. I mean, I haven't ridden for the past year at all, which is one of my frustrations in a way because it was a strong identity for me. More on that another time, but I went recently to the stable I used to love, and I just wanted to feel the smell of the horses and to see the horses and touch their face and touch their nose and connect my heart with them and give them carrots. And just like this has such a therapeutic, beautiful effect on me. It's unbelievable. It's beyond words and it's beyond the physical body. It is a very spiritual experience for me and for many of us that we are connected with horses. And I think you know what I'm talking about if you're familiar with horses. And yes, for me that was enough. I didn't have to, although there was like a sense of like not envy, but it was a sense of like, "Oh, I wish I would be on the horse like these people, and I don't even know if I know how to ride." And just like it's been too long time, like 60 years of the fire horse, or like for me 1 year since I haven't ridden a horse, and I felt this like unworthiness, somehow again, like not trusting myself. And then like I was like, it's not about that. The horse doesn't need me to ride it. The horse, was forced by us humans to be domesticated in order for us to just like, ride it, to use it for our own benefit. But no, the horse is here on this planet to bring us awareness and to put us in touch with our own spirituality and to build connections. And the horses came here with really, really strong healing powers. And it's enough if you're next to a horse to feel what I'm talking about. So the fire horse is about trusting ourselves. This is the year where I have to trust myself as much as I can. And you have to trust yourself as much as you can. Like, really. And also having the expectation that something big will happen and it's for the better. And keeping our groundness for the change is not always easy. The collective change, the way we live our lives might look very different from now on. Not necessarily because of the AI, but because there will be some reforms, some revolutions of thought, of spirit that we have to welcome in our lives, because the world is not like it used to be. And the fire horse years along the history, like I explained before, comes with big changes, revolutions. And yes, I repeat these words because it's gonna be sticking with us, so we can remember and anchor in these words whenever we see this happening in our own reality. So we have on one hand the relationship with time, which is very important, that might as well change now. And the relationship with time can be reversed right now, because we will choose to pause, we will choose to, give the horse a break, including ourselves. Take longer pauses, put the phone down more often, look at the screen less. And I'm not saying to sleep more, although that's very indicated for some of us. But I'm saying contemplate more, look at the sky more, be in the nature more, because the burnout is real even for our planet. I mean, we are like exhausting all these resources in order to maintain these very, very high performing technologies such as AI and spaceships. And I mean, the contrasting world that we are living in, it is humongous. And I do believe also that, it's a possibility that all these things can collapse all of a sudden because of the lack of the resources, because a crisis has to happen in order for this to stop. You understand? Like a crisis of our planet, of our resources, that cannot sustain anymore what we have created with a lack of awareness or responsibility, if you know what I mean. However, now it has been showing to us that we do have the responsibility of taking breaks, pauses, and of getting down off the horse when we feel we are too fiery in our lives, on making choices for the good. Because the fire horse is because it comes because it shows you are the leader. The fire that you have in yourself, you have it to create the life that you want. And this is the feeling that I woke up this morning with. And I do hope this resonates with somebody. And if it does, and if you listened so far, send me a heart. Because I'm sending all of you really, like, to everyone. I really believe in a better world. I really believe we are wonderful human beings, and we were created with this choice of being good and living in a beautiful world such as this. It's not just a coincidence. Maybe we shouldn't take it for granted anymore, and maybe we should not take for granted ourselves, who we are.